live in interesting times. Today's stories. ICRC chief says Syria's crisis politicization makes the work challenging. Green favela fights to live sustainably in Brazil. Russia says the doors are not closed to cooperation with OPEC. A UN expert says Iran virus action is too little too late. Health Minister announces its first coronavirus case in DRC's capital, Kinshasa. EU backs Italy's bold measures to fight coronavirus. Lebanon records its first novel coronavirus death. UNESCO says over 360 million children and students are missing classes due to coronavirus. Plus, Pence and Trump on insurers waiving copays on coronavirus tests and disembarkation on Grand Princess. This is Eagle News coming to you from Virginia Beach, Virginia, bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Sarah Nachman. And now for the details. ICRC President Peter Maurer says the Syria crisis politicization makes humanitarian responses challenging during a presser with the president of the Syrian Arab Red Crescent, Khalid Boubati, in Damascus.
This is not only challenging in terms of a professional humanitarian response, it's challenging because of the politicization of the Syrian crisis, of the Idlib crisis, and ICRC is certainly eager to work closely to see how best we can respond to the emerging needs in Idlib. The fading away of the international community's attention to the Syrian crisis will make the maintenance of our work in Syria a big challenge in the weeks and months to come.
بعضهم بيقولوا صار في نزوح مليون، بعضهم بيقولوا مليون ونص، بعضهم بيقولوا راحوا للجانب التركي، بعضهم للجانب السوري. حتى نكون صريحين نحن معكم، يلي انأزحوا من مدينة إدلب بهالأزمة هي اللي عبارة عن شهر، هن عبارة عن 450 ألف نازح. ونحن استجبنا في المناطق من خلال العبور اللي كان صعب الوصول إليها من المجموعات المسيطرة في إدلب إنه يعطوهم الإذن بالخروج.
At first glance, it looks like any other shanty in town in Brazil, a precarious jumble of tin roof, shacks, and shanty streets. But look closer, and the community garden, rainwater harvesting system, and environmental education program are visible too. This favela is remarkably green. On the outskirts of Sao Paulo, a concrete jungle of 12 million people, the impoverished community of Vila Nova Esperança, Village of Hope, is fighting to be a model of sustainable living. The driving force behind the Green Favela is its leader, Lia de Souza, elected a decade ago. An irrepressible woman of 57, she moved here in 2003 to escape an abusive husband. She soon set about turning the favela into a kind of place she wanted to call home, one where people respect the environment and each other, live sustainably, and take care of their community together. She has fought hard to make that a reality, sometimes against abusive police and authorities.
Ideia porque não tem dinheiro e outra porque é também sustentável. Ajuda o bolso e a natureza, né? A gente mesmo coletando o nosso lixo e procurando fazer abrigo onde pudesse colocar aquele lixo para não maltratar o meio ambiente.
Creating that home has been an ongoing struggle, but it has earned her the nickname Lia Esperança, Lia of Hope, evoking her favela's optimistic name. Giving a tour of the organic garden she helped create, Sousa said, quote, "We have to come together to make this not-so-great place a really great place to live." She proudly pointed out the wealth of plants in the spice section: thyme, basil, turmeric, lavender, 3 kinds of mint. Nearby, papaya trees and banana plants sprouted from the red soil, along with vibrant purple bougainvilleas and pink hydrangeas. Sousa said, quote, "We have all kinds of medicinal plants too," showing a greenhouse full of seedlings and compost used for fertilizer, which has the added benefits of reducing waste. Villa Nova Esperanza sits an hour from the Sao Paulo city center, carved out from the lush forest known as the Mata Atlantica. The plants and flowers don't stop it from looking a lot like the rest of the megacity's 1,650 favelas. Half-finished shacks like the dirt streets, tattered furniture sits outdoors, stray plastic bags drift in the air. But the community of 3,000 people has won multiple awards for its environmental programs. With her bare hands, Sousa picked up fistfuls of mud and slapped them onto the wall of Brinquedoteca, a children's center with educational games and toys that she and the community are building. The mix of clay and cement they are using, she said, is less expensive than bricks and it's sustainable. Sousa said, quote, "When I arrived here, there was nothing," she said, "not even electricity. Today, we have an amphitheater, a library, a communal kitchen, a pond where the children can swim, and the garden, which just keeps growing." One of her accolades, a civil engineer named Rodrigo Calisto, showed off the stone basin where he recently finished building a fish farm with the help of other volunteers. He explained that tilapia will both provide food and eat mosquitoes, a vector for diseases such as dengue fever. The community has also erected sandbag walls to protect itself from landslides. Calisto said deadly landslides are a widespread problem in Brazil because most favelas are built on hillsides. He has also developed a system to collect and reuse rainwater. Sousa said nature teaches us how to live. You don't need to go to university. Sousa's grit has sometimes put her on a collision course with authorities. Several years after moving to the favela, she learned officials were working to evict its residents, accusing them of building on protected land. Swallowing her fear, she stood fast with her community the day police arrived, kicking and pepper spraying residents in a failed attempt to evict them. She says the city's Housing and Urban Development Company has offered her money to leave, but Sousa is determined to stay. Her latest challenge is the end of a municipal grant of 1,050 reais, about $225 per month, to pay residents to work on community projects. The grant has been a godsend for the favela, where 1 worker in 5 is unemployed, but it is about to end. She said people who live on the periphery have nothing. It's going to be hard if the grant ends, but we're not going to stop working.
Acho que é uma forma de preservar também, né? Que é ecológico e também faz a pessoa viver também, sentir na pele, né? A terra, o barro, tudo.
São sacos de laranja, batata, com terra ensacada. E a gente faz esses muros de contenção. Esses muros permitem que a água passe, mas a terra não vá. Então não tem um perigo para as casas que estão na parte de baixo. Então, uma solução super simples que pode ser replicada em todos os lugares.
Russian Energy Minister Alexander Novak says Moscow remains open to further cooperation with OPEC to stabilize the oil market.
Во-первых, хочу сказать, что двери не закрыты. То есть то, что соглашение после 1 апреля о сокращении на 2,3 миллиона баррелей в сутки не продлено, это не означает, что мы не можем в дальнейшем взаимодействовать со странами ОПЕК и не ОПЕК. Было подписано в прошлом продолжать это взаимодействие. При необходимости у нас есть различные инструменты, в том числе и сокращение, и увеличение добычи, и договоренности могут быть достигнуты новые. Родственные программы. У нас есть потенциал роста добычи. Думаю, что в краткосрочном периоде мы можем нарасти до 200-300 тысяч баррелей, в перспективе потенциала до 500 тысяч баррелей, это в ближайшее время.
Russia said Tuesday it was open to renewing cooperation with the OPEC oil cartel, even as kingpin Saudi Arabia escalated a price war with Moscow by announcing it would flood markets with new supplies. The oil price conflict broke out after OPEC and a group of non-member countries dominated by Russia, the world's second-largest oil producer, on Friday failed to agree on production cuts. Saudi Arabia, the world's biggest crude exporter, responded by announcing unilateral price cuts. This prompted the oil price to plummet and fueled huge drops on stock markets Monday. On Tuesday, Saudi oil giant Aramco announced a plan to massively increase oil output despite falling demand during the novel coronavirus outbreak. Russian Energy Minister Alexander Novak said Tuesday Moscow remains open to cooperation with OPEC to stabilize the oil market. Novak told the state-run Rossiya 24 television channel, quote, "I want to say the doors aren't closed," hinting at the possibility of further talks. Novak insisted Russia's failure to reach agreement with the cartel does not mean that in the future we can't cooperate with OPEC and non-OPEC countries. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told journalists no one rules out such a possibility. Aramco said Tuesday it would boost crude oil supplies to 12.3 million barrels per day in April, in a move that will flood markets when current agreements expire. A UN rights expert says Iran's response to the deadly new coronavirus outbreak has been too little too late, describing the situation as highly disturbing in the country.
Now, the situation on coronavirus is highly disturbing within Iran. The disease has spread widely. It has been a rapid expansion since the first two reported deaths that the information that we received took place in Qom on the 19th of February. In my estimation, the state has done too little and too late. Some preventative measures have been taken, and as you rightly pointed out, these include the temporary release of 70,000 individuals who have been convicted. But these releases are only restricted to convictions of individuals up to 5 years. So that does not include people who have been charged and convicted of national security offenses or serious crimes, and also dual and foreign nationals, right?
Iran on Tuesday reported 54 new deaths from the novel coronavirus in the past 24 hours, the highest single-day toll since the start of the country's outbreak. The health ministry spokesman Kianush Jahanpour said in a televised conference the latest death bring the number of those killed by the virus in the Islamic Republic to 291. He added that 881 new cases had been confirmed, bringing the total number of people infected to an official 8,042. But Jahanpour said, quote, 2,731 people, which is about 10 times the number of dear countrymen we've lost, have recovered and been discharged from hospitals. The outbreak of the virus in Iran is one of the deadliest outside China, where the disease has been reported to have originated. With 2,114 cases, the capital, Tehran, remains the worst-hit province. The northern province of Mazandaran climbed to second place with 253 new cases, bringing the total there to 886. Followed by 751 in Qom, the Shiite pilgrimage city south of Tehran, where the country's first cases were reported. Mazandaran is a popular tourist spot bordering the Caspian Sea and is particularly popular during holidays for the Iranian New Year, which this year starts on March 20. Iran is yet to officially impose quarantines, but authorities have repeatedly called on people to refrain from traveling and have resorted to closing hotels and other accommodation to discourage travel. Jahanpour said, quote, as we said, the expected in recent days, Mazandaran has almost reached the top of the chart in terms of infections and is second only to Tehran. Our warnings against traveling to Mazandaran may be more understandable today. Iran's fatalities include several politicians and government officials, as well as some hospital staff. According to the official IRNA news agency, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei agreed on Tuesday to designate hospital staff who died after contracting the virus as martyrs, following a suggestion by the health minister. In the Islamic Republic, the families of those designated martyrs usually receive financial aid and other benefits from the state. The supreme leader also canceled his annual speech in Mashhad city to mark the Persian New Year due to concerns about the virus outbreak and health authorities' calls to avoid gatherings and travel. According to health ministry figures, 222 people have been infected by the virus in the Khorasan Ravasi province, where Mashhad is located. Apart from direct fatalities, 44 people have died from methanol poisoning in Iran after rumors that drinking alcohol could help cure or protect from the disease. Up next, Health Minister announces its first coronavirus case in DRC's capital, Kinshasa. EU backs Italy's bold measures to fight coronavirus. Lebanon records its first novel coronavirus death. UNESCO says over 360 million children and students are missing classes due to coronavirus. Plus, Pence and Trump on insurers waiving co-pays on coronavirus tests and disembarkation on Grand Princess. Eagle News will be right back. Stay with us. You are watching Eagle News broadcasting from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I am Sarah Nachman. Health Minister Itoni Longondo announces the first confirmed cases of new coronavirus in the Democratic Republic of Congo in the capital Kinshasa, the largest city in French-speaking Africa. The Democratic Republic of Congo hopes to declare next month an end to a 19-month Ebola epidemic that has killed 2,264 people, as no new cases have been discovered for 3 weeks.
Chers compatriotes, nous venons d'être informés par nos services attitrés d'un premier cas confirmé de coronavirus COVID-19 en République démocratique du Congo, précisément à Kinshasa. En effet, il s'agit d'une personne de sexe masculin, âgée de 52 ans, de nationalité congolaise, résidant en France.
Kinshasa, which has a population of more than 10 million people, is served by direct flights from Brussels and Paris. Passengers have their temperature taken upon arrival and must fill out a medical questionnaire. DR Congo officials have drafted a strategic national plan to deal with the new coronavirus. The head of the National Biological Research Institute, Jean-Jacques Muyombe, said Monday. The Democratic Republic of Congo hopes to declare next month an end to a 19-month Ebola epidemic that has killed 2,264 people, as no new cases have been discovered for 3 weeks. The EU on Tuesday praised Italy for taking bold steps to curb the spread of deadly coronavirus outbreak, adding that Brussels would do all in its power to help.
We commend the Italian authorities for the very courageous measures they are taking. We know that they will put a great strain on the Italian people, but it's better to take those bold measures now to protect as many people as possible from the virus. We will support Italy and its people by any means and measures at our disposal.
A Lebanese man died Tuesday from the novel coronavirus, a health ministry official said, marking the country's first recorded death from an epidemic that has infected 41 people nationwide. The ministry official said the 56-year-old had been receiving treatment at Beirut's Rafik Hariri State Hospital, adding that he had recently returned from Egypt, where coronavirus infections have also been detected.
سجلت أول حالة وفاة لمريض مصاب بفيروس الكورونا المستجد من الجنسية اللبنانية والذي كان قد نقل إلى المستشفى بحالة حرجة.
Lebanon, already hit by economic collapse and anti-government protest, is now grappling with an outbreak of the deadly COVID-19 virus, its latest in a long list of crises. Health Minister Hamad Hassan said last week that the country has moved beyond the phase of containment and was bracing for a more serious outbreak. Schools, universities, cafes, pubs, and other public places have since been ordered shut over fears of the virus. Sport tournaments have been postponed and cultural events canceled. According to the health minister, the origins of Lebanon's cases have mostly been traced to other countries. Lebanon said it would deny entry to non-resident foreigners arriving from China, South Korea, Iran, and Italy, which are among the hardest hit by the epidemic. But domestic concern is still high amid fears that Lebanon is not equipped to face a mass outbreak. With a grinding liquidity crunch and dwindling foreign reserves, Lebanon has struggled to secure the dollars needed for medical imports even before coronavirus arrived. Prime Minister Hassan Diab announced on Saturday that the country would suspend payment on Eurobonds. More than 70 countries participate in a UNESCO video conference in Paris on how to ensure the continuity of education for school children in the face of the coronavirus epidemic, which has had a massive impact on the education system. The Director General of the UN Cultural, Scientific, and Educational Organization, Audrey Azoulay, says schools and universities are closed in 15 countries around the world, affecting some 363 million students.
The latest figures that we have as of this morning is that schools and universities are closed in 15 countries worldwide, affecting some 363 million learners. Another 14 countries have implemented partial school closures, and should their closures be expanded countrywide, an additional 540 million learners would be affected. I think it's the first time that we have a global virtual meeting of ministers for education. We have with us today 72 countries, including around 40 ministers for education and high-level representatives of their ministries.
Over 300 million students worldwide faced weeks at home, with Italy and India the latest to shut schools over the deadly new coronavirus. As health officials on Thursday warned, many countries were not doing enough to fight the outbreak. As the number of cases rose above 97,000 worldwide, with over 3,300 deaths in some 85 countries, the Paris Marathon, Russia's main business forum, and Italy's final match against England in the Six Nations Championship on March 14 were among the events canceled or postponed. The outbreak's rapid spread has prompted fears of a global economic downturn and rumbled global stock markets, with major European and US exchanges sinking again Thursday. Most deaths and infections are still in China, where the virus first emerged late last year, prompting the country to quarantine entire cities, temporarily shut factories, and close schools indefinitely. But infections are now rising faster abroad than inside China, with South Korea, Iran, and Italy emerging as hotspots. The World Health Organization warned Thursday that several countries were not showing the level of political commitment needed to match the level of the threat we all face. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told reporters this is not a drill. This epidemic is a threat for every country, rich and poor. Britain and Switzerland reported their first deaths from the outbreak on Thursday, while Bosnia and South Africa confirmed their first cases, and Algeria said 16 members of the same family had been infected. A British United Nations employee was one of 4 people to test positive for the virus in Senegal, in the UN's first case worldwide. France also reported a steep jump in cases, bringing its total to 423, with 7 deaths, as President Emmanuel Macron warned the country was heading towards an inevitable epidemic. Next week's sessions of the European Parliament will also be moved from Strasbourg to Brussels due to significantly higher health risk. As he announces that major U.S. health insurers have agreed to waive all co-pays on the coronavirus test during a meeting with several insurance CEOs at the White House, Vice President Mike Pence says, quote, "We want people to get tested." Sitting next to Pence, U.S. President Donald Trump provides reporters with an update on the Grand Princess face disembarkation process, which he says is going along incredibly well.
Mr. President, that all the insurance companies here, either today or before today, have agreed to waive all co-pays on coronavirus testing and extend coverage for coronavirus treatment in all of their benefit plans. They've also agreed to cover telemedicine so that anyone, particularly among a vulnerable senior population, would not feel it necessary to go to a hospital or go to their doctor. They'll know that telemedicine is covered. These CEOs have also agreed to no surprise billing. We want people to get tested.
You know all about the big ship that came in yesterday, and that's going along incredibly well, working with the state of California successfully, very successfully, also with Canada and with UK. The UK is taking their people, their citizens back, and Canada is about 600 people. They're coming back, they're being met and brought to planes and being brought very, very in a very, very dignified fashion back into Canada. So we appreciate all of the help we've had in that, and that's working out very well.
That is today's Eagle News. Join us again tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Eagle News and on Facebook at facebook.com/Eagle News. Thank you for watching. I am Sarah Natman and I am 1 with 25.